following program is a collection of stooges talking about the happenings in the automotive detailing industry. It is meant to be comedic and informative. The opinions expressed on the show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or their ad partners. There may be some cuss words because that's how grown-ups talk in the real world. If you are a young, please seek permission before watching or listening any further.
Welcome to the Detail Solutions Podcast. My name is Alex Russell, and I'm your host. All right, we are rolling with these this year. I feel like back to it. Feel like feel like I'm Stella. Got my mojo back, or got my groove back. Um, so I'm excited about it. Hope you guys are too. The Detail Solutions Podcast.com. That is the website to find all of things Detail Solutions Podcast related. You can find links on where to listen to us: Apple, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram. We also have our preferred vendor page, wonderful ads partners. That's going to have a bio about their company with a link that will take you right to them, make it easy for you. It's also going to have a coupon code or a mention that when you do go on their website or order from them, to use a code or to mention the Detail Solutions Podcast to save some money. And then we have the Drip Shop. The Drip Shop does have the podcast or the podcast logo T-shirt. It also has the Concaster shirts, and I'm debating on putting up a Red Delight T-shirt. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that. Maybe when the wax comes out, maybe I'll do a Red Delight T-shirt. See how that goes. We are, let's see, YouTube. I'm still working on that, so give me some time. The new YouTube channel is going to be the Detail Solutions Podcast and the number one. So if you were following along in the old YouTube channel, please go follow this one. There's like 3 videos up there so far right now, but I'm playing around with the Opus Clip stuff to make some cool shorts. So I want to start adding those to it as well as the last couple of videos. And then TikTok, the Detail Solutions Pod. And I have been putting up the Opus clips that I made from Esme. Had Ken Mercer on the last episode from Stark Yacht Care. So I will start uploading some of those clips and get those going before this episode comes out. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, email me at the Detail Solutions Podcast at gmail.com. I need to be better at looking at that. But just shoot me an email, or you can message me on Facebook. You can message me on Instagram, whatever. Makes my life easier. I appreciate it. Hey, let's see, May 3rd through the 5th, if you want to come out and have a grand old time in Marietta, Georgia, I highly recommend coming to the Angel Wax Chest Car training event that's being held at Reds. You're going to learn some things from Noxie, some sanding things and some correction things. Rain's going to train everybody on angel wax coatings and their stuff. And then I'm just going to be there hanging out, causing trouble, recording some stuff, doing podcasts, whatnot, just having a good time. So I highly recommend, if you're looking for a training event to go to coming up here in the next couple of months, that's the one to do. All right. Please go like, share, follow, subscribe, hit that notification button anywhere that you're listening. or watching or any of that fun stuff, please go leave a 5-star review on Spotify. On Apple, you can also write a review. That would be cool. I like seeing those. Those pop up every now and then. But yeah, tonight's guest is Mr. Grant Menard. So let's jump into a commercial break and come back and talk to Grant. He doesn't like talking about himself, but we're going to have some fun with that. We'll be right back. Audubon is a leading provider of tint, paint protection film, and ceramic coatings. Experience the transformation as you cool down your vehicle and elevate its curb appeal with Audubon's window tint. Ditch rock chips and scratches by fortifying your paint with Audubon's cutting-edge paint protection film. And for an additional safeguard, add a ceramic coating. Backed by an unwavering lifetime warranty, Audubon's products form automotive armor with no limits. Visit AudubonFilms.com to delve deeper into the realm of automotive care and protection. And we're back with Mr. Grant Menard. How you doing, buddy?
Yo, good brother. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's finally nice to meet you, man. I feel like we should have bumped into each other at some point by now, but I don't know. Just hasn't worked that way. So
I'm a low key
um,
guy, dude. I like to
yeah,
hide behind the curtain. So
yeah,
no, but you're not wrong. We've been to a lot of the same places, that's for sure. Yeah,
yeah. It's good, man. So how you been? Everything good?
everything's great.
Cranking?
Yeah, cranking out. Yep.
You just said you're home for the first time in a weekend in how many months or how many weeks?
Oh man, it's gotta be 6 months. It seems like. Yeah, it's a
6
long
months.
time. Yeah.
Right.
Well, I started earlier this year with Michael Avens over at Urable. So he called me late
Oh,
last year and
okay.
offered me full time. So just
Nice.
that rolled in, and then I got my first kid on the way coming in June. So I'm trying to front
Well,
load the whole
congrats.
first half of this year. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
can. Yeah, once a kid gets here, I kind of take off the second half of the year.
Yeah, enjoy that, man. Mine's 14 now, and she's a pain in the ass. So enjoy
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. I hear that. I hear that from I think every single dad that I talk to, and that's why most dads have beer bellies because
Yeah,
of children. Yeah,
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
yeah.
So listen, man, I want to know how, where, when, why you got into detailing.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to when I was in the garage with my dad. So he had his Mercedes S500 and his Harley Road King that I still own to this day. And that's going back to, geez, when I was a child. I mean, I remember going out there with my dad, and at the time it was the Dawn dish soap in the 5 gallon bucket with my mom's shower towel. But he
Yep.
would detail that Harley before it would leave, and then after he got back from every ride, he would detail it again. And I'd be out there with him. So that's kind of where I was always trying to see, where my love came from. It was definitely that with the automobiles, but my mom keeps her house spotless.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I got in, graduate or was at Penn State, and actually before that, I was working my high school job, which is over at a local pharmacy. And I bought my first Mustang. So it's the second year of college. This was like 2012. I bought my first Mustang, which I still have
Okay.
today. Built the whole company off that. And I just detailed on the side, just doing what every dude does on the weekends, taking the thing out, waxing it up, cleaning it up. And a lady at the local post office walked down and said, "Hey, who cleaned your car?" And I said, "Well, I do." She goes, "Is there any way you clean my husband's? I want to give it to him for a birthday present." It's a Pontiac Vibe, piece of crap. Alex's thing was smoked in, I think, every single day for about 15 years. It was faded. I mean, there was, yeah. So my buddies, it was she asked me that. I was like, yeah, of course I could do it. I could do it this weekend because I'm working. I could come on
Yeah.
Saturday and do it. So my two buddies convinced me to go out drinking with them the night before, and I said, I'll drink with you, but you got to help me the next day. They were passed out in my mom's grass and watching me the whole time. But we did that Pontiac Vibe, and that's kind of how it did. And she paid me $200 or whatever it was at the time. Could have been $10.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I got into the detailing world. So much like most of us, I call it the industry of rejects. None of us really, wanted to be detailers growing up. We kind of just fell into it,
Yeah.
and I'm that guy. So that's how I started detailing, and then graduated Penn State, got in the pharmaceutical industry, and loved that job so much. I was in the managed care space. Don't need to get into that; it's kind of boring, but love that job. But at night I would come home and detail, and I would do that,
Right.
just like everybody, grind till 2 o'clock in the morning, sleep 4 to 6 hours, thinking that was sexy. Wake up the next day, do my farmer job, come home and detail. And one day I went to a networking event or a men's group that I was part of, entrepreneur group in San Francisco, and realized I just wasn't aligned with the ethics of pharma, but I was really aligned with cars and with what I was
Yeah.
doing on the entrepreneurship side. So quit that job and jumped into detailing and haven't looked back since.
Dude, that's awesome. So wait, so San Francisco, you were at that event, San Francisco. That was just an event at San Francisco, or were you out there at the time?
No, I was out there at the time. Well, no, I was out
Okay.
there for the event. Yeah, so it was a men's group called Epic Impact.
Okay.
I was allowed in it because my old job, it was so it was for entrepreneurs that were successful. So you had to make at least
Okay.
100 grand a year. You had to be your own business owner. There's a lot of Cutco. You know those Cutco knives that people
Yeah.
sell.
Yep.
So that was a ton of the dudes that were in the group were Cutco salesmen and
Okay.
killing it
Yeah.
like door to door. Like I learned so much from them, door to door gifting, like selling $30 knives but making 60% margins on it. I was like,
Nice.
God damn! And these dudes are doing 3, 4, 500 grand a year in revenue. You do the math, you make 60% of that. You're doing damn well. So I
Wow.
was learning a lot, but that's how I got into it. And
Okay.
so they allowed me in because my old job was as if it was my own.
Gotcha. No,
But yeah,
I know you're from the Pennsylvania area, and obviously
yeah.
you said you went to Penn State. So I didn't know if you had like moved out to
Oh no,
California or whatever, and then moved back. So that's why.
nope.
Yeah. So I mean, starting Menards, I mean, you kind of grew that to be something that was pretty successful and everything. Was that a lot of, or was a lot of that attributed to all that stuff you learned from the Cutco sales guy, knives guys, of the
Yeah,
stuff or whatever?
that's a
I
great
mean,
question. Yeah,
you are, I mean, obviously, this is the first time we're kind of crossing paths, but it's not the first time I've heard about you, obviously, and I mean, you are kind of known in the industry for, helping people out business wise and things like that.
yeah. And the Cutco guys definitely helped me a lot with the referral side of it. I mean, I built my whole business off of referrals. We ran ads for a very short amount of time, and there's a reason behind that. That was very short. Um, because I give every bit of our dollars that come in, we dedicate that back to the customer. And I did that for years. Um, so when I'm looking at the success of the company, referring is a big part of it. And that comes down to the Cutco guys. Door knocking for sure, like actually walking up to somebody. I would go
Yeah.
to people's neighborhoods in the weekend when I was trying to build this company out, especially once I got into our first shop and I had no choice but to fill it because now I had expenses. I would walk up, I would drive through the super affluent neighborhoods and see what dad, especially Saturday mornings and Sunday mornings, what are dads doing? They're cleaning their cars.
Yeah.
So I would drive up and I would pretend like their Corvette C5 was the
That's the
sexiest car I've
coolest.
ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, that's so awesome. I would just pull up I was driving my
Yeah.
Mustang at the time. So,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh, I bet you, that thing will kick my ass. And so, but it would be a very inviting, I wasn't coming up being like, oh, I'm trying to sell you on details. I'd become their
Right. Yeah.
friends. But I was
Yeah.
door knocking at that point. Like I would wait until or I would look at landscaping that was perfect. And if anybody has a house and they have perfect landscaping, and their lawn has nice lines in it, that they probably take care of their cars.
Yeah.
And if they don't, then it definitely bothers them. And you could be that solution for them. So I would write handwritten notes. Hey, I love your lawn. I saw you had a Marine flag on your front. I'm a big supporter of the Marines, or hey, I saw you had a Penn State flag. Like, let's go Nittany Lions, or whatever it was. I was just looking for
Right.
little reads without their neighborhood or within their house. So, but Cutco was definitely part of that too. But the biggest part of the success of the team, like building, I have an addiction to hiring, and I hire good, and we hire well. So when I was growing the business, I didn't take a paycheck for the first 3 years. Like just because I had a savings from the pharma side, I was giving it all back to my
Right.
team. So when jobs came in and I wasn't working on them, I was just hiring really good people, really solid people that were able to do the jobs for us.
No, that's awesome. When you would go into these neighborhoods and approach people like that and everything, did you ever kind of get any pushback with it? Because especially you kind of sounds like the neighborhoods you're kind of talking about, they're usually kind of like a no soliciting, kind of neighborhood. So, and especially if you didn't live in that neighborhood and you're just cruising it or
Yeah.
whatever. So yeah, I mean, did you get any kind of pushback with that? And like, how did you overcome it? Or
I mean, there's never a person that kicked me off their lawn, but you could tell. I'm big on body language and
yeah,
psychology, so I could tell when the body language is super guarded or when somebody really didn't want you to be there. Uh, my goal was to, because I studied it pretty aggressively. My goal was to see. It was a challenge for me to see, can I make this person open up and feel comfortable with me here? So I saw it
right,
more as a challenge than anything else. But I wouldn't be wearing any Menard gear. Like I want to be walking up in a Menard detailing shirt with a Menard detailing hat and a
right.
notepad. Like I was just looking. I was going to look like a car dude that was just rolling through a neighborhood. I would walk up with a smile. So there wasn't a time I was ever kicked off property. But I would
Gotcha.
definitely fib. So to get them feeling comfortable, like, oh yeah, and it would. And this rings true today. I'd never start a conversation with "I want to sell you," and I don't go into any conversation being like "I want to detail your car." Every
Right.
conversation is I want to build a relationship with you, and if you're comfortable enough to know enough about me that you know that we detail, or you ask, "What do I do?" The minute somebody said, "What do you do?" That's what I said. "Oh, I detail cars. I actually detail a couple of your neighbors." That's why I was coming through the neighborhood. I wasn't detailing any of the neighbors,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, so
I'd be
like,
like,
"Oh,
"Oh,
which
yeah,
neighbor?" I'm
who?
like, the other side. Yeah,
John,
yeah,
2
John,
blocks
Tom,
over."
Mike,
Yeah.
Tim, Chris, like
Yeah.
the most popular 10 names. Like, yeah, on the other side neighborhood, purple mailbox, that guy.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
uh, yeah, so that's how you can build trust really really easily. And yes, it was a fib, but it was only a fib until he said, "Oh, you want to detail mine, or would be
Right.
interested in what we do when we talk coatings and everything else." I'd be like, "Hey, I can." You don't need to be out here every weekend washing your car. I can maybe save you a weekend or two a month. So it was cool
Yeah.
though. It was really special because I was building a relationship and trust. I wasn't going in like most salesmen or door knockers do, where you're knocking on the door to produce a sale.
Right.
That's all you're looking for, is for somebody to give you their credit card or their checkbook. That was not my intent. My intent was to at least build a big enough relationship with this person that they might know somebody that would benefit from our services and what I was
Right.
doing.
Yeah. And I like that you said that, you were really there trying to build a relationship because, anybody that I've had on this show who has been successful, um, that's the thing that they always say is, I never talk to somebody and try to sell them. I want to build a relationship with them,
Yeah,
and that's the thing that, even I look to, today, with my clients is, what keeps me busy or what keeps me, still in business are those clients that I built relationships with. The people that, knew Haley when she was, 4, when I had just left the car wash and started this, now she's 14, and they're like, "Oh my God, she's so old now," and I was talking to one of my monthly clients last Friday, and we were kind of going back with, like, how long I've been detailing her cars for, or washing her, maintaining her cars for, or whatever, and it was like, almost 8 years, and I was like,
damn.
it feels like I just met her, like, last month or whatever, like,
Yeah,
it doesn't feel like I've been, washing her stuff for 8 years or whatever, so it's kind of funny, like, that is a true statement. Build the relationships, and that'll keep you busy. I love it when some of my clients that maybe I haven't seen in a while will text me out of the blue. Hey man, how's it going? How's the family? They ask those questions first, and then it's, hey, do you have time? Take a look at my new ride, or get me in, or something like that.
yeah, Alex, that rings so true. I mean, how many times have you also reached out to clients just to shoot the shit with them, like just to be
Yeah,
like, "Oh, dude, you see that they're a Phillies fan, and you're like, "Oh, dude, you see the game last night?" Or an
yeah,
Eagles fan, or whatever it is, right? And you're talking sports to them, or you saw a concert, they're into music, and you're just reaching out to them because they're true friends. Like when you
yeah,
have,
exactly.
yeah, you're
I
surrounded
mean,
by
I
friends.
Yeah, I have, thankfully, some of my clients are, obviously car guys, and so they're into racing, so we kind of connect on a Formula 1 level. So, sometimes it's, messaging about the race that's, going on, the weekend or whatever, or all the crazy drama that's going on or something like that. So, yeah, you're absolutely right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way,
When
if you
did
hear some squeaking, that's my dog behind me. She's
Oh,
having a
it's
cry
all
baby.
good. It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's okay.
So when do you think, like, you kind of became that next level in a sense, right? Because again, like I said, this is our first time meeting, but it's not like I've never heard of you before, and you're always mentioned in very high regards, for everybody that I've talked to. So, like, what was that like? How did you make that change, or what happened, or what did you do that kind of, took you to that next level?
Yeah, Alex, I don't think I'm at a next level. I'm
Yeah.
just another guy that details cars just like everybody else. That's how I've always seen myself, and I always will. So I don't see myself as going to another level. I've been asked this question before, and it took me a long time to actually like figure it out. Like, what were the steps, I guess, to maybe
Yeah.
get there? And I used to be on Instagram all the time. Like, I'm talking like when we built our Instagram following, I was on there for geez, 6-8 hours a day, like filming 6-8 hours a day, doing
Wow.
Instagram lives. It was Instagram is how I'd
Yeah.
start every single video. And that's kind of how and that's when I started to get a following on Instagram. And then that kind of, that was Instagram's obviously in the past now. It's not top dog anymore, but that was kind of what it was at the time. So
Yeah.
that really built a following where people were reaching out to me and then messaging me. And then I was able to showcase the business. And during that time, we were at our first shop. So my mom kicked me out. I started the shop out of my mom's garage, but she kicked me out when I had like 8 Jeeps dropped off at her front yard. I closed a Jeep dealer, and they said that they had 8 cars to be done. I thought they were going to drop one at a time. Dude, they brought a double
Yeah.
stacker to my mom's front house. And my mom ripped me a new one because they were in her garage. She goes, anything. She goes, that's it. You're out. That was on a Thursday. So anyways, I was in my first shop. So that was like the beginning because we started with that and video. Like we were one of the first to really start videoing for purpose within the shop, not for
Okay.
notoriety. Like I was never
Yeah.
videoing for the notoriety. It was just to share stuff. So it was definitely Instagram was I spent a ton of time on there. And then when guys would reach out, it was just like having a conversation with you right now. I was never like, oh, I'm bigger than you, or I'm better than
Yeah.
you, or I know more. It was just like, hey, dude, what's your problem? And I'm regarded as being a solutionist. Like my nickname at the shop is you're a solutionist. Like when I go into work, what's the problem? Here's a solution. Put it to action.
Yeah.
So people would bring to me all these problems, and we come up with solutions on the spot. And it was like, oh, that's that easy. I'm like, yeah, dude, that's all you got to do. And then they would go and put it to action. They would shoot me a text or a message a day, a week, a year later, being like, dude, I implemented that. And it's been awesome. So that's kind of what it was. But dude, I'm like, Alex, I'm not any different than any of us, dude. I'll
Yeah.
still go get a McDonald's double cheeseburger, and I'll go and camp out and not shower for 7 days. Like, sure, I stay at nice hotels every once in a while, but I'm just a dude. Like some days
Yeah.
I wake up and forgot to change my shirt. So
No,
I'm no
and
different than any of us, you know.
no, and that's awesome, man, because I like when, I talk to people that have that same kind of mentality, right? Because, I mean, obviously because of this show, I mean, I've gotten, a little bit of notoriety, whatever you want to
Yeah,
call it, right? And it's, people come up to me and just like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, dude, I'm not better than you. Like, I mean, I don't, you come to my shop and, we'll throw down, we'll have some fun, but, don't look at me in any different kind of way. Right. So, I think it's cool because, there are some guys out there who definitely, take their pedestal everywhere they go with them, it seems like,
yeah,
so, that's cool to hear, man. Cause,
yeah,
I think it's definitely what, you can tell the good guys in the industry by the ones that are definitely, like even like you said kind of earlier, right? Like you're just low key, right? Like you're not, flashy and stuff like that versus some of the people who are.
yeah. I mean, my
Yeah.
cars are flashy. Like I wrap them in ridiculous stuff, right? So when I'm
Yeah.
driving,
That's what I
I don't want
mean.
to say I'm not. I
But
love
that's
my
marketing.
ego. Yeah, I know my
Yeah.
ego now, so I love my ego, right? So I
Yeah.
am flashy to a degree, but I know that I'm flashy. It's not like I'm being a douchebag relative.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
did drive a douchebag, Mustang to my wife to pick her up on our first date, and it was straight pipe, and it was orange, and it was a quintessential douchebag move.
Yeah.
But with that being said, yeah, dude, like I love human connection. I truly do.
Yeah.
Like it's truly passion. I would love to connect with as many people as possible. In the business, like I still struggle in personal and in business. Like nothing's perfect.
Right.
There's nothing about me that's perfect. I love myself, and that helps me in life a lot. I truly do love myself. Uh, but I love the ups and downs that I go through every single day. I was just talking to my wife about it when I was waiting to come on here. Like I had a crazy day today, and she saw the last 4 hours of it,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Is this what it's like for you every day?" I'm like, "Yeah, babe." And I was like, "It's wild. Like that was a roller coaster of emotions, but I loved every bit of it. It was fun. It was fun as hell. Like
Right. Yeah.
so." But I'm not perfect, and that's the thing, and that's why I think I'm able to connect with so many people in our industry and just in general in life is because I'm like a judgment free zone completely.
Yeah.
Um, I don't judge. You could say anything, and I'll love you for it no matter what, and we'll talk through it. So I'm people feel safe around me because I feel safe around them. I start with trust from the beginning, and then if someone breaks the trust, obviously there's conversation to be had. But I'm not
Right.
gonna.
Yeah.
You don't have to build trust with me. Trust is there from the
Yeah.
beginning. Yeah,
No, that's awesome, man. And I kind of like what you're saying about the, the whole Instagram thing or whatever, because, the last Q&A episode I had was with Esme, the detailing girl. And I mean, she's got a huge Instagram following. I mean, it's, it's kind of almost her, thing. Um, it's how she gets a lot of her business, and she talked about how you have to be dedicated to it, in a sense. So kind of like what you were just saying, you're spending all that time in the shop, filming all this stuff for Instagram to kind of help grow. And that's one of the things that I haven't um really been able to grasp is the social media side, because I always tell people I'm a scroller, not a poster,
Yeah.
and it sucks because like here I am not only trying to, I mean, I'm not I'd like for my business to be a scotch busier, but not too much busier. But also the podcast, right? Like I'm always like, how do I get the podcast out there more and things like that. So that's where now, especially now that I'm more hands-on with a lot of the video stuff and thumbnails and things like that I've been making, it's kind of pushing me to spend more time at it and then try to get it out there. So hopefully this will make me post more on TikTok and more on Instagram and more on Facebook for it, definitely for the podcast, and help to get it out there more and get it to grow. Um,
Yeah,
because
like
in the,
it's a time suck, dude. Like it takes
yeah,
a ton of time, bro. That's
yeah,
a full time job, and that's why I hire people
yeah,
now. I don't do it anymore. Like
yeah.
I had to hire a team to do it because I can't do it anymore. It's too much time.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to get there. We're not Joe Rogan yet. Hopefully one day there'll be like a little
Yeah,
producer studio thing over there. But yeah, I mean, for right now, it's me just beating my head against a wall for the, last 4 or 5 hours, because I was trying to make this clapback video to Noxie's video that he put up today about the angel wax and Jess car training. And so I was trying to make a clapback video to him, and I was trying to make mine better than his. And I wanted to have, like you see you always see in the videos, people are like, oh, click right here, and then there's like a little thing that pops up and you can click it and it takes you to a link. But apparently nobody does that anymore. Can't do it on anything. And I'm all over the place, Google and YouTube and Facebook, asking for help on how to do it, and beating my head against the wall for 5 hours. And yeah, I'd love to be able to just be like, hey,
here you go.
yeah, do this
Yep.
for me, make it happen. I don't care how you do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It is. I mean, it's
Yeah,
nice that you have it, but even then, dude, they don't do it the way that you want to do it. I mean, that speaks to our
yeah,
business in
yeah,
general. That's the hardest part. It's like, oh my god. But then once they get a hang of it, then it's like, oh wow, I could have never done it as good as you do it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
but dude, it's tough.
yeah.
It's one of the
It's
hardest
definitely,
positions.
yeah, it is. And trying to convey your vision to somebody, and then hoping, that they do it right. Is that's tough. I mean, these thankfully I've found a really good artist on Fiverr, because these Concaster shirts that I've been doing, like when we did the Air Force one, and the Las Vegas one, um, those were, I just sent him and a whole detailed, hey, I want this, and like, thankfully he was able to do it just like what I had visioned in my head, with very, very little revisions. Um, the newest one was the Red Delight shirt, or the Red Delight logo, with Noxie stuffing his face with a donut. And that was pretty easy, because that was a real picture of Noxie with a stuff in his face with a donut. So I was just like, can you just, make this a drawing? so, so he did a
See,
good job.
that dude's the
Yeah.
best. Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right. Let's not hype him up too much.
All right.
Let's Yeah, I don't want to give him too much praise. Listen, let's do a commercial break real quick, and then we'll come back. We'll chat some more.
I'm
We'll be right
gonna
back.
bring my dog downstairs.
Yeah, go ahead.
Detailer knows what a detailer wants. Aquatech is a company founded by detailers for detailers.
Aquatech Coatings is a company that was founded on the frustrations that we all face as professional detailers. And that is why we set out to build a company that eliminates those frustrations, to provide excellent customer service, quality products, reliability, efficiency, products that check all the boxes as professional detailers we need and we want.
Find out why so many detailers around the world are loving the Aquatech difference. Join our team today at aquatechcoatings.com.
Oh man, that was perfect timing.
I heard it in my
I was
headphones.
wondering.
I knew it was coming to an
Yeah.
end. Say, come get the dog. She's crying.
Yeah. So you're pretty, or you were, I mean, I guess pretty big with trainings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When did you, like, what was that mindset where you were like, okay, I'm ready to train people? Because I've kind of been on the fence with that a little bit. I mean, I don't have a ton of people knocking down my doors, but I've had a few, and I'm one of those people that I feel like I understand what I'm doing and why it's working and things like that,
Yep.
but I don't know that I could actually convey it to somebody for them to understand it. So that's where, like, I'm kind of trying to figure out. So when were you, or where did you, kind of come up with, okay, like, hey, I'm ready to start training some people and get into it, because again, you've done it pretty well for a while.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It started with, well, Jim Hutton. I brought him on board. So we were training, like actually training the technician side of things, and meaning how to polish a car, much like what Noxie does, right? So how to polish, how to wet sand, how to apply coatings. I mean, that's how I met Jim. Jim was the trainer at G-Tech when I became accredited with them, and then I brought him on board full time. So we started holding some trainings in house, and what I noticed really fairly quickly is that everyone was coming for the technician side, but nobody was coming for the business side of things. And all I focused on was the business, because I was building a team to be the technicians and the management side, and I just wanted to be the entrepreneur and run the business. So I was giving, we would do a day and a half with Jim and then a half day with me. And that half day, their eyes were, not saying there wasn't with Jim too, but the technician side of things was great. But the first question would be like, well, how the hell are you going to go sell this when you get back? And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, seriously, how many jobs do you have coming in next week? And they're like, one or four, or I have none. And I was like, well, guys, why the hell are you here? Like, getting trained for something that nobody knows about. So let's help you on the business side. So that's how it started. And I just got a ton of joy out of it, because that's what I love to do, Alex. I love to start businesses and grow them, and get them to a point where they run for themselves, and then I'll open up another business. So when I got the detail shop to run by itself, and I started Power Moves Consulting. So the consulting side of the business, and that's where I got into coaching, and consulting for businesses, not just within our industry, but across multiple industries. So that's how I got to know basically Michael Avens too, and with them, and with Urable. So I got into that side, and then I started coaching, and I just truly fell in love with it, because it was much like I do every day. It was just problem solving, but I was able to do it at a much quicker rate. So we had, I didn't realize, and I still don't feel that way, that our shop was able to grow, extremely fast. I feel like it's still slow moving growth. But
Right.
I was able to, double, triple, quadruple people's businesses by helping them once a week. And they were happier, able to go on vacations, able to have families, able to buy houses, able to get the dream car that they always wanted. And I was in the background just smiling the whole time, being like, that's awesome, like cheering them on and helping them out. So that's where I just got joy out of it. So that's when I started doing the trainings. And it was truly from the point of, hey, my shop's running on its own now. If I really want to get it to the next level, I'm going to have to jump back in, 40 hours a week. And I really don't want to do that anymore. I always wanted to take over the
Right.
world, and take over the detailing industry. And that was, my young self. Not saying I'm still not young, but it was just like, I just don't want to do that anymore. Like, I'm super happy and thankful where it is, and it's manageable, and we got a great team. So I'm good with this. But there was still something inside of me that said, hey, like, you need to grow something. So I just started helping other businesses do it, and that completely took care of that thought and that need, that I had internally, and it's been
Yeah.
an absolute joy, doing it ever since.
How do you get people interested on the business side of it? Because like you were saying, right? I mean, like, they're there, they want to do the technician stuff, but then as soon as you start talking on the business side, right? Like, the head starts nodding down, and I get it. Like, it's
Yeah,
not the sexy side, right? Like, the sexy side is making paint shiny, right? And slapping coatings on things like that. So how do you get people excited about wanting, like, okay, like, my eyes are wide awake, like, I'm taking all this in to the business side versus the technician side?
It was more, I mean, much like I did the detailing business, Alex, it was referral based. So I started with one business, they told another business, they told another business. So it wasn't like I was going and trying to sell it. I've never sold a consulting client ever. They've always reached out. So I've never walked into a business.
No, but I
calling
mean,
people.
like when somebody comes to take the class from you, like how do you get them excited?
Oh, you mean when they're coming to trainings with
on the
Jim and I?
business, on the business side, how do you get them excited to actually want to do a business training versus, you know,
Great
it's
question.
kind of
So
like it's kind of like the meme, right? Where the guy's holding the girl's hand and he's looking back, and that would be like the technician side of it, the fancy stuff, and then the girlfriend's the business side.
Yeah. So I would do exercise at the time. It's my 3 columns. I'm kind of like coined for this thing now, which is kind of funny. But it's a 3 column, which takes no more than a half hour to basically fill out if you want to go all in. So it's 3 columns. So the first column is the I love you column. I absolutely love to do this. Is all I want to do within the business. I started the business because it's all I want to do. The second column is I love this. I don't mind doing it for now, but I don't want to do it forever. And the third column is the fuck you column. Fuck that. I hate doing this. I never want to do it again. Like a solid 8 out of 10, maybe even. I mean, I never took actual data down. Just going back and thinking about it. I'd even say it's closer to 90% of the people that were coming through always had the technician side of it in column 3 or column 2. Column 1 was always, I want to run a business. I want to have employees under me. I want to do the sales side of it. I want to do the marketing. I want to go get the big jobs. That was always in column number 1. Column number 2 was maybe, I want to train, or I want to start, doing, like, most of the time actually in column 1 and 2, where I want to clean the floors. Like, people love cleaning the floors and taking the trash out. It's so odd, but it's awesome, right? I mean, that's true.
So the 2 things I hate doing the most.
Right. Well, that's column 3. That's a cool thing. It ranges across the board. And some people are just like, hey, all I want to do is just sometimes like I just want to polish. And I'm like, well, okay, we got to hire somebody to run your business. So it was column 1, 2, and 3. And the column 3 was always over and over again. I hate polishing. I don't want to polish car. I don't want to do interiors. I don't want to detail them. That's why I was like, all right, motherfuckers, why the hell are you here then? Because you signed up to get trained by Jim. I just happened that Jim wanted to take a break from you guys for 4 hours, and I decided to be a little businessy. So why the hell are you here? Because I ain't going to do a goddamn thing for your business. So that's what initially sparked it. And then I would always share the numbers. I'm a super open person. Like, I'm an open book. You ask me a question, I'm going to give you the answer. There's really nothing I hide at all. So I would just be open and honest with them. Hey, here's the growth of our business. And most of the time, our year, so 36 to our third year in was like double, if not triple, what people have done after 5, 10, 15 years of being in the industry. So that's when people are like, okay, Grant's onto something here. And then I would share our, unconventional way of running business, and it makes it really fun. In the way that we treat our customers, like the experience side of things. We're an experience-based company. I see us as a Disney World, not a detailing shop. Detailing is a subcategory to it. It's like the Coca-Cola machine. We're the Coca-Cola at Disney, but you're coming in for Disney's experience, and you're going to buy Coca-Cola while you're there. But the reality is, you're there for the experience that Disney provides. So I would just share this stuff. People get super intrigued about it, and then and that was about it. I mean, it didn't really take much to get people to be like, holy crap, that's what I want. And sharing the vision too. Like, being a visionary is definitely, and when you're able to convey that and talk about it, people catch on to it. And then I would take the guys and gals in one-on-one and say, hey, what's going on? I would give them 30 minutes or an hour, and we would just jump in on that one issue that's just been pushing them down. And we would just come up with a solution and be like, oh, here it is. Here's what you got to do if we could figure it out. And if we couldn't figure it out, I'll call a friend that maybe had gone through it, maybe not in our industry, but a different one, and get them an actual solution for it. So I was just open with her, and they were like, holy crap. And then when I took 2 months off and completely left the shop and I went into the national parks with my wife and my siblings for 2 months, and just left the business, and I wanted to give it a true test. And once I was able to do that and I shared that, that's when people really jumped on, because that's what people want. People want freedom. And I was able to actually, for the first time ever, get complete freedom with it not being in business for that long. So that was that was our year 3. That was year 3 was when I took that. So
nice.
Honestly, dude, it's very difficult for me, Alex, to try to look back at these things. Not even difficult, but I don't really have the answer, because I never treated it like me trying to get these people to jump onto something, or like I was just sharing what we've done. And people were like, well, I want to do that. Can you help me? And I said, yeah, of course. That'd be awesome. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm giving free advice. people aren't like the only reason we charge now, my brother Nick's now on the consulting side with me. The only reason that we charge is because people that you give free advice to don't do a goddamn thing with it.
Right. Yeah.
And it pained us because we were giving so much heart to this. So we ended up starting to charge for it, and then actually brought some really phenomenal people on board with us that, I've had people that have been training for 4 years now or coaching for 4 years now, which is awesome. And they're literally looking at me, they're like, dude, we just pay you every single month. We know we're really not getting much out of it anymore. We're just paying you because you deserve it because of all the value you give us up front. I was like, that's awesome. So
yeah. Well, plus it also, if something does arise or come up, then they know that, they've got some priority with you, hey, this happened, or we're experiencing this or whatever, help us out. So I could see that. Yeah. And I think it's kind of cool the way that, you kind of, approached it with, people, just kind of sharing and being honest or whatever, how your business is growing. And then people saying, well, I want to do that. Right. And then you go like, okay, let's do it because then they're already interested. Right. If you're like, hey, I can, what do you want to do? I'm digging a hole over here and every, third shovel full, I'm pulling out gold. Well, I want to do that. How do I do that? Well, come here and let me show you, like it's more, it gets them more motivated to do it. Like you said, cause I remember Rennie telling me, you know, a while back, with his trainings is, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Right. So you can show them the world on how to do it. But when they go home, if they're not implementing it, right. So you got to have them kind of interested in it. So I think that's a really good way to get people interested in the business side.
Yeah.
How you just, yeah.
Yeah.
So how did the Urable thing come about? Because you mentioned earlier about, now taking a full-time job with Urable, and then how does that affect, Menards and everything? Obviously, probably not much because it doesn't sound like you do a whole lot anymore there anyways.
I mean, I'm still there. I still love to be there. They still need me, right? It's not like I'm 100% replaced. I felt like I was. But over the last 2 years, I basically took off. I'm not saying I was retired, but it was like a micro retirement. I was doing things that I was loving. I was golfing almost every single day. I learned how to fly a plane. I'm getting my pilot's license and fly planes now.
Cool.
And I was focusing on, so backstory on that. For the last 2 years, my dad passed away when we were younger. So he was able to live basically a half life of a normal human. And what I came to realize fairly quickly, especially once I got married and now we have a kid on the way, was, hey, if I'm going to be a father, I need to start knocking out everything I've wanted to do in life now. So that way, when the bucket list comes to hit, that like if I was unfortunate enough to get hit with cancer like my dad was, and at an early age, I want to make sure that when my wife comes to me and says, hey, babe, we have 6 months to knock out the bucket list, I'm going to look at her straight in the eye and say, already done, babe. Like,
done. Yeah.
We already lived it. So that was kind of what happened over the last 2 years. I was just living the life that I truly wanted, and traveling with my wife all the time and meeting awesome people and giving back and helping with charities and adopting and fostering dogs. Like, it was just cool 2 years. So basically with that, I was still doing the power move side, and Michael Avens, I was helping when Urable, I was like their third user that popped on board back in 2018 when I first started the business. So Urable came on board, and they just so happened to be a local company out in Westchester, Pennsylvania. I'm out in Bucks County, so it's about an hour and a half away. So the first development, I was close enough where they started asking me questions and be like, hey, how's the app doing for you guys? How's the software doing? How's the implementation? Like, what's going on? And I would just help them and with the development side of what Urable was. And then we got into these things called Your Stories that we brought to the table, and I helped them. I started consulting for them. So we started doing these awesome documentaries around the States with local detail shops and hearing their story. So just like without the business side of it, is truly like the Joe Rogan experience where you're actually sitting there and hearing about who this person is. But a true deep dive. Like, I always brought the tears. We go deep. So it was just really cool. So I did that for years, and I just got to know the team. Like, the Avens are family to me, 100%. I tell Michael all the time how he's so much like my dad. Like I feel like my dad set Michael into my life to provide me with the guidance that I need. And So basically was doing that throughout the years with them and just helping them, going to all the conferences with them and meeting all the cool people. And then Michael came to me in December of this past year, so 23, and said, hey, we got this national account position that's opening up, and to take responsibilities off Michael, because Michael was so, he was retired for 4 months,
Yeah.
and then his kids brought him back on board, like back into the workforce. The dude hasn't had a retirement, right? He
Yeah.
went backwards, like he went back to day
Yeah.
one. So he
Yeah.
was like, well, we want to
I
open
mean,
up this
whatever.
national
Listen,
account.
he's driving around in an R8 all over the country. Come on, like,
It's below me right now. It's in my garage as we speak. So I
nice.
could, yeah. Yeah, so exactly. The dude's doing fine. So he bought his dream car. He was tracking, like he was having a blast. But his kids asked him, and it was so cool, like that he was able to jump back in a single conversation with them. He was like, absolutely, let's do this, and let's do it for detailers. So I believe in the family so much. I'm basically a son to them. He's a stepdad to me. They're, Chris and Kyle, and now Taylor. They're siblings of mine. Like I see them as a true family. So when he came up to this opportunity to me, I thought when he was calling me, say, hey, we have a national account management open up. I thought the next sentence was going to be, can you help me put some candidates together? Like, do you know anybody that might be able to take this over? And I was like, oh yeah, of course. Like that would have been my answer, of course. But it wasn't that. It was, hey, we've, the kids and I have compiled a list, and we can only choose one. Like there's only one person on the list, and it's you. And we know you have a lot going on, but we'd love if you would take this opportunity with us. So I was like, it was the easiest yes to Alex I've ever sent in my life. If my wife was to ask me to marry her, that would have been the easiest yes. That was flipped around. But it was the easiest yes. I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I took on that position with them. And in January, we got the ball rolling, and I've been going ever since. So that's why I've been traveling so much and haven't had weekends home, was because I want to front line and build as many relationships as I possibly can. So speaking with Rennie, I was just out with Rennie a couple times this year. I love that dude. He's awesome. We did a year story on him, and it's cool because now being in the industry, I mean, it hasn't been a long time, but we just build relationships. Like I get to call on all of my friends, which I know you get to do too, doing these podcasts.
Yeah.
And you build, just like you and I are now, we're friends. So every time we see each other, it's just talking conversation. If a piece of business comes up, sure, let's talk about it, but it's not in like I'm trying to sell you mentality.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, man. It's just, again, like you said, right? Like it all just falls back into relationships. You build the relationships, and then the sales will pretty much kind of come from that. I mean, I look at, whenever somebody tries to come and sell me on something, and it's hard because a lot of times, like, yeah, I do want to try your thingamabob or your doohickey or, whatever, but it's like, Davey P's my guy, like it's hard for me not to use O'Burke, Ian's my guy. Like I don't know if I'm going to use a different towel. Like, it is really hard because when you build those relationships with those people, and you it's not just about a brand or a product anymore. It's the person, right?
100%.
Like I'm not buying O'Burke, I'm buying Davey P, and that's just extremely important to me. And I feel like a lot of people, now then again, there are those people that are like, oh, new shiny thing, let me get a new shiny thing, or whatever. It's like, wait a second, you were just doing this for like the longest time, what happened? New shiny thing, but
well,
yeah,
and I'm happy you said that, Alex, because part of what we do, I came to realize quickly, was that brand doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Like nobody comes to, and I know you know this too. Nobody comes into your shop because of the brands that you use.
No, not a
It's
one.
because of who you are, and you choose the brands that you have because of people like Dave Patterson who have an awesome. I mean, we love O'Burke too. The only reason we use O'Burke is because of Davey P, and it's an awesome product. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
right?
it is. It is.
Yeah, but even this week we had a PPF distributor that came through our door, and we ended up moving we brought 10 in house. So we ended up giving them our temp business, but all she's been asking is for our PPF business because we do a ton of it. And I don't know. I've told her so many times. I said, I don't care what you do or what you say. There ain't a goddamn chance you'll ever get it because I have too good a relationship with John Clevin, like the dudes over at Stack. Like him and Benjamin are great friends of mine, and it'd be extremely difficult for me to go and tell them that I'm leaving because I'm going to save $300 in a car. That's messed up, right? It's messed up. Like that's a friend.
Exactly.
I'll spend an extra $5. You might have to bleep this one out. I'll spend an extra
Yeah,
$500 a roll.
yeah.
Just,
It's too
for
late.
them.
It's too late. I told you. I don't edit nothing. No technical difficulties going on here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all relationship, and that's the thing. Like Alex, when Michael Avens came to me, it was because of the relationship we had. It was the first time
Yeah.
anyone's ever come to me, and I didn't have to go and chase something. Like I didn't have to go and fight for something, especially when it came
Right.
to a job. It was the first time ever in my life that someone came to me and approached me with an opportunity like that. And so that's why I was like, absolutely, like if I'm that person, I'm the only person that's on there. Like, what am I going to say? No. Like, how am I supposed to do that?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when
So
it's somebody who's so close to you, and obviously you have that that admiration for and respect for too. I mean, how do
yeah,
you say, thanks, but no
can't.
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Worst
I could,
worst
and we
case
would.
scenario,
Yeah,
worst case scenario, you suck it up and do it for 6 months or something, and
yeah.
then be like, hey, look, let's get somebody else in here. It's not for me or
He does
whatever.
have a clause in there, that little mofo. That when I say little mofo, it's Michael. I can call him that. But the mofo that he literally says that either of us have at any time can leave, and he puts that on me and tells me that all the time. So
Yeah.
if it was 6
Yeah.
months from now, hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully I prove myself. But if it was 6 months
Yeah.
from now, he does have that opportunity.
Yeah.
But to answer your question,
Yeah.
Alex, too, is like, how do I manage it all? Right, I have all these things going on, especially with the Urable side being super heavy front for my time. It's a ton of time suck, but it requires a ton of time.
Yeah.
And the answer, I have a great team on with all my companies, not just the detail shop, but same with the consulting side. So I brought my brother Nick on. Same thing with my real estate side. I have a team that manages that. Same thing with the detailing side. Obviously, I have a huge team there. But each team, it's like having multiple kids. They all still require attention. So I can't just go and leave one. So at all times, I'm always checking in every single day with every single person. Even though Urable's my current focus, it doesn't mean I've
Right.
lost focus or attention or energy towards anything else. So I just manage my time really well.
Right.
I know, I just know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, kind of like what you said, you're just trying to front load the Urable thing right now because of, the kid coming soon or whatever. But I would imagine that, realistically, the Urable thing is more of a, remote, kind of phone
Yeah.
call, for the most part, right? I mean, like you said,
Well,
yeah, you do want to get out there, and
yeah.
you want to shake hands and, or like I like to say, kiss hands and shake babies, kind of thing.
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, look, it's me. I'm here. I'm just not making a phone call. I'm actually coming out to see you. But as the baby comes and that's gonna, the kid's gonna take more attention.
For sure.
At least for probably the first year, you can be a little
Yeah.
bit more phone call-y versus hands-on.
100%. Yeah. That's why I gained so much success in my old job, though, was because every conversation didn't matter if I had to drive 7 hours for a 30-minute meeting.
Yeah.
Gene, my old boss, taught me that. And that's why I was able to gain so much success in that world, in the pharmaceutical world, is because every single meeting was in person. Unless I had to,
Right.
obviously, there's times, but the majority of my meetings were always in person. It wasn't like I want to take phone calls or do Zooms or do conversations through email. But if it was ever a serious meeting, I would always try to do it in person if it would be able to happen.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, dude, yeah, it's just I'm an in-person kind of guy. That's just how it is. Like I like shaking hands and kissing hands and doing whatever you want, doing
Kissing
whatever.
hands and shaking babies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, listen, man, let's do our last commercial break. We'll come back.
Cool.
We'll wrap it up with the 3 thinking questions. So get your thinking cap on, and then we'll wrap this up, man. We'll be right back.
Let's do it.
L.I.V.I.N is your ultimate partner in automotive detailing. Elevate your detailing game with our premium microfiber towels and applicators, meticulously crafted for protection. Unleash the power of precision and achieve that showroom shine. Autofiber, where innovation meets immaculate finish. Upgrade your detailing experience today. Visit autofiber.com and use the code DSP for 10% off your order. The difference is in the details. Okay, so the thinking questions. I've changed these up. I don't know if you've listened to the newer episodes, because I think I just started doing these at the beginning of this year, so there haven't been a ton of episodes with him. So so the first one is the Groundhog Day question. So have you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray?
I
Where
have, but this is gonna be a good one. But yeah,
he gets so he's stuck in Groundhog Day, has to live it over and over again. Even if he dies, just comes back the next day. But he does retain all of his memory from all of the days before, right? So like that's kind of the thing, and you always wonder like how long did it really take? So if you had eternity of the same day, and after you get past the point of wanting to kill yourself and you just accept the fate that you're just going to wake up every day, how do you better yourself, whether it's picking up a new skill, you know reading all the books that have ever been written, helping people out, even if it is really only for a day. What do you do with Groundhog Day?
one single thing, or it's like what's my day?
Well,
Like,
I mean, you have a day, so I mean, I guess you could break it up
yeah.
and do multiple things, but yeah.
I mean, the main focus of my day would be doing things that are important to me, and there's a lot of things that are important to me. But I mean, I'll just go through the day because I basically live it now. So let's launch it if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
So I wake up, obviously, get in my shower, drink my coffee, kiss my wife, say hi to my dog, let the dog go poop, clean it up, throw it in the trash, head to the airport, go for an hour flight, land the damn thing, hopefully, put it away, go do jujitsu. So basically, the first couple hours are focusing on myself and really important to myself. Yoga, reading, whatever that might be. Then the next 8 hours is giving back, and that's going around. I try to every single day donate to something. Might it be someone monetary or my time, because that's really important to me, especially people that are in need. So that's the next 5-6 hours of that day is giving back to anybody that needs it. That could be just through a conversation or a hug. I like to hug. I'm a big hugger. Hugging brings a sense of, I guess, comfort to a lot of people, including myself. So hug as many people as I possibly can. Give a lot of high fives too. Those are always fun, especially the jumping ones. Uh, and then at night's for fun. So at night's the partying and reliving, not even just reliving, but giving yourself some time to celebrate your achievements of that day. The achievements in the morning are the 3 hours with your family and the extra hours of doing what I want to do. Those 5-6 hours of giving back, and then that last 3 to 4 hours of that day is pure celebration and celebrating everything that you did for that day with the
I
people
like
that
it.
and friends that you love.
I like it. I like it. You're the first person to like actually break it down for a whole day. Everybody else, so far, everybody else just wants to give back, give to somebody, do something for
Yeah,
somebody, which is
I
awesome.
made part of it. You got to party, dude. You got to drink some beers. Come
I'm
on.
still waiting for the somebody that's like, I mean, Bill Murray like kind of took piano lessons every day and then became like a badass piano player. So like I'm waiting for somebody to be like, I'm gonna sit down with the guitar every day and learn how to,
Yeah.
be Eddie Van Halen, or I'm gonna, read all the books that were ever written, or whatever. Yeah. So, but no, I like that answer, man. And that's the thing about these questions, right? Is everybody's answer is going to be different
Yep.
to them. So jumping into the second one, and I already kind of have a feeling maybe I know where this one's going to go, but so it's the Back to the Future question. So you have access to the DeLorean, go anywhere in time, forwards, backwards. Where are you going? What do you want to see?
I'm putting my wife in the passenger seat, and I'm going back to my childhood with my dad when my dad was around. We had just the whole family.
Kind of
But
figured.
wife and dog are going with me. Yeah, for that one.
Yeah.
But we'll go back.
Sweet.
Yeah, pre 2000. I mean, he got sick in 04. He was still awesome when he was sick. So yeah, I guess like 2003.
Okay.
We'll go back to, and because I want her to see both sides of it. Obviously the fun, and then obviously what I went through too, because she doesn't understand. Like she doesn't
Right.
understand some, not just myself, my whole family, like what we went through.
Yeah.
But I want her to be able to meet my dad in the good times, and also be able to see what it was like, having a parent go through cancer and pass away. So get her on both sides.
Nice. And then the last one is what's your death row last meal?
Oh, dude, easy. Applebee's half price appetizer. We're going for some boneless wings. We're hitting it with some spinach artichoke dip. I'm gonna bring a couple bags of flaming hot Cheetos. And for the drink, it's either gonna be a Guinness, an Arnold Palmer. I mean, if is my last drink. I haven't drank soda in 5 years, but Dr. Pepper, well, Mr. Pibb was the shit. So I'll
Okay.
probably throw a 2-liter of Mr. Pibb in front of me with some crushed ice from Chipotle. Or, I mean, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A's got the best crushed ice ever. And
Yep.
yeah, launch it. Yep, that's about it.
Nice. Well, that's it. That's a wrap. Well, see, you
That
said
was
you
simple.
didn't like talking about yourself, man. You spent a whole hour talking about yourself.
I was forced.
Easy peasy, man.
Now I'm gonna go in my sauna and sweat it all out.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, I appreciate you doing this. I know this is kind of a last minute, thing for my Friday guest kind of canceled out. So, you were the first person that I was like, man, he's probably going to be way too busy last minute. But I do appreciate you having the time to do this. So, before we go, if anybody wants to, get a hold of you, and either, attend a training, either with you or with
Yeah.
your staff, or, wants to, I don't know, learn about how to sell drugs legally, or, whatever weird things that you're into, what's,
That was one of my the illegal side was one of my businesses too.
yeah,
So that was fun.
what's, give everybody all your ats, where they can find you and get a hold
Oh
of you.
God. I mean, Facebook's really great. Just Grant Menard, and then email would be grant@urable.com. For the training side of it with CarPro, you can go onto CarPro's page, and we have our actual in-house trainings there. We train for the coatings, we advanced training, and then paint protection film training too. We do all that through CarPro with Corey. And then for consulting, grant@powermovesconsulting.com, or just go to powermovesconsulting.com as well. And you can kind of go on there, fill out the form, check it out.
Awesome, man. Well, listen, buddy, thanks again. Congrats on the new
Thanks, dude.
job.
Appreciate it, Alex.
Yeah, congrats on
Thanks, man.
the new kid coming up in a few months, and I am going to, I mean, we've already talked. I've got an idea, topic idea you already know about. I do want to move that forward. So let's try and figure that out. If we got
Say no more.
to dump the other two, since they're not participating.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
See, my Back to the Future was an hour ago.
Yeah,
And I'm
exactly.
coming back.
Exactly. Listen, man, you take care. Have a great night. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Appreciate it.
Alex. Appreciate
Thanks,
it, brother. See you, dude.
Bye.
Yep, you got it.
All right, everybody. So that was Grant. What a cool guy, dude. I mean, I've heard so much about him over the years, and like I said, I mean, it's crazy. Like, we've just never kind of crossed paths for some reason, or maybe if we have, probably just didn't notice each other or whatnot. So I'm glad that he jumped on and was able to knock out an episode tonight. So that's it. That's all I got. Please go like, share, follow, subscribe, hit that notification button anywhere that you're listening to the podcast. 5-star reviews would be excellent. Write something sweet and nice to me on Apple would be even cooler. Until next time, please have a great day, night, week, whenever you're listening to this. Appreciate you. Take care.